here we go. Let's see. Shit, that felt good. Oh, he's... Gotta get the feel for the 19. What's going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a good time today. Frank, you went down to... Where'd you go?
I went to Irvine. I went to the National Mortgage Professional Magazine's networking party.
How was it?
It was good, man. Good turnout. I had a really good turnout. And spoke down there. And that's Joel Berman's thing, if you're not familiar with him. But it's just a party is what it is. I mean, you go down there, he had 3 little workshops that were fun. I taught one, and then a couple other people taught workshops. And then it's just hanging around and drinking some booze and eating some food. Dude, they came out with this, what they did for the food there, right? Is you got the guys walking around with, a fig with a piece of blue cheese and a piece of bacon on it. You got that. So you had a few of those things going around, but they brought out, dude, they're cutting up beef, right? Well, I was there when they brought in the beef. They bring in the beef on these trays. They roll them in. I am not BSing you. It was this big. It was like the thigh of a cow, like the leg bone sticking out, right?
Really?
It was this big. It was gigantic. 2 people had to lift it up and put it on the thing. And then they're just slicing that baby up and sort of had 2 of them.
Really?
It was crazy,
What
man.
did that cost?
I don't know, man.
It's gonna be $bucks. You go to Costco and you get like one of the prime ribs like that. It'll cost you a couple $100.
Oh yeah, I mean it had to cost hundreds. I don't know. And Joe, it's all free. I mean, so there were people down there, and I hung around, tried to network a little bit, and after about an hour and a half, close to 2 hours, people were pretty lit.
Well, when you're not drinking, it's like nothing's more fun than being around drunk.
When you're not drinking.
When you're not drinking, it's just not so much fun.
It really isn't. It can be funny, but it can be annoying too.
So while you were doing that, we missed a day on our cast here. I took a couple of our team members down, and we drove down to Southern California, but we were inland. We were up in the high desert. So we went to Victorville. But on the way down there, we stopped in a little town called Tulare.
Yeah.
Cute town.
Yeah.
And we went and spoke with the multiple listing system there.
Yeah.
We're dealing all these multiple listings. I've been dealing with the multiple listing systems now for the past year. I mean, for a couple of years now, but for the past year, really tried to reach out to them. These guys, are consistently the most rigid. I'll tell you this. All right, let's put it this way. A librarian is 10 times more outgoing than anybody who works.
More charismatic.
Oh, a librarian's a goddamn stripper next to these people working these MLSs. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's always the same type of thing. Well, we got to run it before the board. We got to get it in front of the board, and and I've got to the point where I'm just burning through these presentations.
Yeah.
So 4 hours down there for 20 minutes with this MLS. Then we kept going down to Bakersfield. I'm going to tell you this about Bakersfield. Whatever your impressions of Bakersfield are, they're wrong. We saw some areas there that were gorgeous. I mean, insanely cool.
Well, it's a pretty big city.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So we went to a real estate office down there. We had listen to this. This trips me out. And this isn't an unabashed, plug for Listing Booster. But we went to this office that had 29 real estate agents in it. Okay? So we were down there because they wanted to look at Keyboom as an alternative to Listing Booster. Mm-hmm. And the reason for it is because their their loan officer, who had all 29 agents in this office, canceled the Listing Booster account, which canceled out all their Listing Booster accounts. And they're going, why would they do this to us? We love this thing. Like this dude over here, he got his first 2 deals using Listing Booster back to back, same day.
Wow.
Got 2 listings and 2 sales on that thing going forward. So that's a total of 4 sides of the transaction.
Mental note. And Bakersfield.
So anyway, so check this out.
Wow.
So the the lender gets rid of the Listing Booster account. Now you've got 29 agents who aren't on it. They're looking for another lender to work with.
Yeah.
Okay, and I said, I'm not going to name companies here, but there's a couple of different mortgage companies in the shop. I said, do you work with this company over here? They said, no. I go, so why not? They're right next door. They said, well, we don't trust them with our deals. That's where okay, I get it. Right or wrong, I get it. But you do have other lenders, yes. How many lenders do you work with? In our office, we work with probably 4 lenders. Mm-hmm. So between these 29 agents, there's about 4 lenders that get 80% of their work.
Right.
One of them is this agent who dropped the 29. So what happens? Another loan officer is going to pick that up. Where do you think that business is going to go?
The other loan officer.
It's going to go to the other loan officer.
Right.
And it just boggled me, the short-sightedness of this. You know, I mean, she's paying 190 cents. It's a woman, not that matters. But the loan officer, she decided to junk a $197 account that was making money for her and her. You know, even if she didn't know the deal was coming from Listing Booster,
Right.
they can tell you, here's a transaction that you closed based on Listing Booster. And anyways, they shit canned. I thought that was interesting. So we went down there in Bakersfield. We spoke with 29 agents. They all signed up for everything, which was really cool. It was great. And then we went down to Victorville, where, interestingly enough, I was with a loan officer, and he was working for American Pacific Mortgage. I made a deal with him. I said, if you get, 50 real estate agents signed up, I'll go down there. We'll do some training together. I said, that's my deal.
Oh, that was the deal?
That was the deal.
And he did it?
And he did it. And he did it.
So you humped your butt down
I
there.
humped my ass down there. Yeah, so it's like, I'm not driving down there for one loan officer, which spent 2 days. We had multiple stops down there. And then my cousin, my biological cousin who I haven't seen in years, lives in Victorville, who also does loans, strange. So it turned out to be a whole bunch of cool stuff that we did on the way down.
Well, I mean, give everybody perspective, too, on how far of a drive it was. This was, how many 100 miles?
It's 8 hours.
8 hours.
So 8 hours.
One way.
Yeah, one way.
One way.
And we went through Death Valley, Mojave. In fact, I got a video. We got a video of me and Lisa and Lena. That's our Listing Booster and our Kibu gals. We went out in the desert in Death Valley, and we shot a video in front of a Joshua tree.
Oh, cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we ended up getting a lot of stuff done. But it was interesting. So my trip started with going to a real estate office of like 29 people who lost their Listing Booster account and wanted it.
Yeah.
And then it ended going to an office with like 40 real estate agents and a lender who just got it.
Wow, what a trip.
Wasn't that kind of a weird thing?
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool.
Well, this was a road trip. What I would kind of correlate this to is you were out in the field.
I was out in the field.
You're out in the field, man, and you were making things happen. And there's just something to be said about getting out in the field. It's just something that. Well, I'll give you an example. I was doing my presentation down at in Irvine, and that's one of the things I brought up. I asked, we had 50, 60 loan officers in this presentation, and I asked. I said, hey, how many of you guys are actually going out in the field, going out and visiting some real estate agents? Out of those 60 people, like 3 people raised their hand, and timidly raised their hand like this, which means, well, I went there once in 3 months, I went out, I mean, it's just nothing that's not going on, it's not happening, but there's something beyond going out in the field than just trying to get business. You're just out, you're just doing things, and things just happen. I mean, you went down there, you decided, we don't have an appointment at this office, let's go in it anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
And things happen when you do that.
Right.
And you're out of the office, you're not in front of a computer screen, you're breathing fresh air. It's just something I think we need to get back into doing as originators.
I was listening to my Sirius XM radio on the way down there.
Yeah.
And there's some comedian on there, and he goes, hey, how many people here have hobbies? And there's like one person's like, it's like, yeah, the one person who's lying about it, and the audience over here who says he's got hobbies,
right.
Because none of you do. He goes, nobody has hobbies anymore. He goes, because everyone used to have hobbies. It's things that you like to do. Something, you can do woodworking, model airplane building. You're getting out there doing these hobbies. He goes, nobody has hobbies anymore.
Yeah.
He goes, you know why? He goes, Facebook.
Yeah.
The time that you would spend doing your hobbies when you didn't have the internet and you didn't have all this stuff. Right. He goes, you've replaced your hobby productive time by sitting on a computer and watching how other people are lying to you about how happy they are all day long.
Or telling you how miserable they are.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's true though. You think about this. People, when you didn't have the internet, what the hell did you do? You had to go outside. You had to go talk to people.
Yeah.
But now it's like all those hobbies and things we do, we've replaced that, engaging type of communal activity with sitting in front of a computer every day. And it's kind of the same thing with work. is we're getting so caught up. It's like, this is my work. My work is
Right.
all my work is going to come funneled through a fiber optic line.
Right.
You know, when you can get out and you can actually talk to
Go
people.
see people, man.
And it's interesting because good shit happens
Always.
when you go talk
Always.
to people.
You're guaranteed that something good's going to come out of it. Even if nothing good business-wise come out of it, you got out, you got exercise, you breathed some fresh air, you were in the sun. I mean, that's a good thing for you.
Yep.
It gives you a different mindset, you know. So.
And by the way, dude, just try it.
Yeah.
Just give it a shot. Why not? Unless what you're doing is wildly successful right now, just go walk around, talk with them, go loiter in an office.
Go visit, man.
Hey, by the way, anybody who wants to call, please call in. It's 707-330-1272, 707-330-1272. Carly's on right now, yeah. So Carly's friend Lisa came down. So Carly, who's on the line right now, fantastic loan officer down in Southern California. Her friend Lisa's about this tall, right?
Yeah.
Little tiny dainty thing.
Yeah.
And she can eat like nobody's business. It's crazy.
It's incredible how much food that girl can put in her body.
So I take my truck down there, right? And so, you know, I got one of the ones with my truck has the big doors and the big doors. So the back seat, the truck's wide, okay? So when you're sitting in the back seat's like that deep, right?
Real big, yeah.
And so it's really wide. That thing's as big as a bed for Lisa.
Yeah.
She literally brought a pillow, she had a blanket, and she could completely lay down straight.
Really?
Yeah. She slept
Lucky.
the whole way.
Lucky.
She fell asleep at Tehachapi,
It's like-
and she didn't wake up till Lodi.
Road trip, no trouble. Let's go.
No problem. Pretty funny.
Yeah. So somebody's asking, what's going on with the CFPB? What's this scandal?
All right, you want us to get to the good stuff right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, by the way, feel free to call us up at 707-330-1272.
Did you
Okay.
make it?
Yeah, no, I didn't get shit. I can't get 18s to save my life. All right, so here's one of the things that we're looking at. So everybody knows right now that Richard Cordroy has, in fact, announced that he's running for the governor of Ohio. And by the way, it looks like he's got a good chance of winning. Ohio is a red state. Who's the governor right now? John Kasich,
Okay.
who ran for president, who I think would have been a really fantastic president too. So it's primarily a red state.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they could get a blue governor in there, that would be a big coup.
Right.
Okay. So Richard Cordroy is a pretty recognizable person. He was the treasurer of Ohio, and he was the attorney general of Ohio before.
Okay.
So he's coming out and he says he's going to clean everything up. All right. There's a company out there called GMMB. And this, by the way, this is the stuff that you guys just aren't really going to hear a whole bunch about unless you're watching our show.
Yeah, we had to search the dark web for this information.
A lot of this is putting it together, finding out. You know, so one of the things that we know, for example, is that Richard Cordroy, when he was running the CFPB, it was the first time a government agency had taken money, awards that they had gotten from private companies, and given it to anybody other than the Treasury. Okay? So when you have like the Department of Justice, for example, or the FDIC or the FTC or all these agencies, and they find a company, that money goes back to make whomever was harmed full again, or as much as they can. And if there's money left over in reserves, that money goes to the Treasury. Okay? So there's two things. When I was looking this up, one, the CFPB sued Sprint for $50 million.
Okay.
And of that $50 million, about $35 million went back to those who were harmed from Sprint. Okay. Then the other money, if there's any money left over, it's going to go and supposed to help the consumers. If they can't figure out how it's going to help the consumers with different types of things, then the money gets absorbed back into the Treasury. It goes back into our national bank.
Okay.
So 3 attorneys general for 3 different states. It was Kansas, Vermont, I can't remember the third one. They set a lawsuit against the CFPB saying, hey, we want that money. We want to use that money to create something. I forget what it was. It went before the judge, and the judge says, well, what you're doing isn't how the law is written. You're not doing anything that's going to help anybody. You're basically just trying to take the $15 million. And the CFPB was roundly criticized for this because the judge asked the CFPB to give an opinion on this. And essentially what the CFPB said is that we don't care. Do whatever the hell you want to do with the money. So it's not going to consumer protection. It's like give the consumer protection watchdog.
Don't you have some great consumer thing you want to do with this?
No, and what they said was, what Cordroy said was, I'm okay with that money going back to the attorney generals, his old buddies, because he was part of it. There's an association of attorney generals. No, just give them the money if they want. What the hell do I care?
Yeah.
He was roundly criticized for that. But anyways, and this happens quite a bit. So the CFPB will allow a company, rather than fine them, say, $100 million, they'll fine them $50 million, and $30 million has to go to nonprofits and things like that.
Okay.
And all the nonprofits that are chosen are very, very partisan nonprofits. So a lot of the settlements from the CFPB didn't go back to those who were harmed or didn't go back to the taxpayers. They went back to partisan groups that had real tight political affiliations.
Okay.
Now this one's interesting here. There's a company called GMMB.
All right.
All right? And on GMMB, you can look them up. Look up their homepage. They help people get elected. That's what they do. They run polls. They do focus groups. And here's what they say. And it says for political campaigns, they say that they combine unparalleled strategies and creative with the most sophisticated media buying and production operations in politics. As a lead agency for Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012, we pioneered the use of digital analytics, micro-targeting, and media organizations in campaigns. It's the same spirit of innovation that helped us elect Bill Clinton, heads of state around the world, and dozens of U.S. senators, governors, mayors, and representatives at all levels of government. That's a pretty goddamn good resume right there.
It really is. And you've got two big fat Democrats that they helped out. You know, you got Clinton and Obama.
Yeah, and what they're doing is they're a partisan group.
Right.
They're very much a partisan group.
Clearly blue.
Okay, so now you're going to say, all right, Brian, let's connect the dots. This GMMB is working for Cordroy. Well, no, I don't know, maybe not.
Nothing official there. We
Nothing
don't have any
official
idea.
there. However, here's what we do know. Okay, what we do know is that as head of and this is my writing right here, as head of the CFPB, Richard Cordroy funneled nearly $60 million through the CFPB, the largest contracts received ever by GMMB from any government agency group by far. And Cordroy did this even though he had congressionally approved bids from other agencies. And all this money from a consumer watchdog agency going to a firm that is almost solely dedicated to getting people elected.
Democrats elected.
Democrats elected. So boy, if a fellow was going to step down from his government job and go and run for an elected position like governor of Ohio, it sure would be nice to have these guys in his pocket. And what he did is he awarded them the largest contracts that they have ever received. Nearly $60 million through the CFPB. And then he steps down and he's running for governor.
That's just shady, dude.
It's as shady as it gets.
It's just shady.
Now here's what I want to know. Is this going to get brought up? Is this going to be a topic of conversation?
It should be.
Because here's the problem with this guy. He was running at the CFPB on a holier-than-thou-art platform.
Right.
You know, we are in the struggle against the big evildoers to really help out the little guy. And as we've said, you've actually hurt the little guy in the process. But let's just move that aside for a second. He's very much in the pocket of these big agencies. You know, he's robbing Peter to pay Paul. The thing is, Paul's got all the resources to make sure I stay king.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on right now. I mean, just right now, today, as we speak. And I started researching this because what we saw before with Richard Cordroy, especially, and we've talked about this before, especially with the arbitration clauses, which, if you guys don't know, with the arbitration, we talked about this at length, but he was getting rid of a consumer's ability to take on arbitration rather than going to sue a financial institution.
Right.
So, like, let's say that I feel like I got screwed out of $200 from Bank of America on my checking account. Okay, and I'm a little guy with little means. So before I could go to Bank of America and I could say, I'm going to call in my arbitration clause. And at no cost, an arbiter will come in and listen to my side and listen to Bank of America's side, one-on-one, and that arbiter is going to make a ruling on it.
Right.
Now, every private study from arbitration clauses have said you don't need a lawyer. In fact, the settlements have proven to be just as good without lawyers as with lawyers.
Right.
You receive more money.
Right.
It doesn't cost you nearly as much. It costs you nothing. Actually.
Mm-hmm.
And these things are settled in weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you have your lawsuits, they cost a fortune. They take upwards of years. The compensation received on average is less.
Right.
Okay. So now, why would you get rid of the easy thing for the consumer to do in favor of the difficult thing to do? Well, because, and by the way, if I got screwed out of $200, I'm not going to put $10,000 on retainers to go get a lawyer to recoup my $200.
Right.
So it makes it financially impossible to do, even if you had means. It doesn't pencil.
Right.
So why would we get rid of the one great thing that consumers can actually do to hold these big institutions accountable? It makes no sense. It flies in the face of consumer protection.
It would seem like somebody wants attorneys to be in control of class action lawsuits.
Yeah.
That's what it would seem like.
Right. Ta-da! Yeah, it's exactly what it is. So what happens
What it is.
So now let's say I go sue the bank for my $200. Well, what we really want to do is find out what was that infraction, figure out how many people could have been screwed by the same screw up, go get 1 million people to sign up for this class action, and then I'm going to get 50 or 60% of my settlement. So I'll get $120 back.
Yeah.
My lawyer gets $80 back. The thing is, that lawyer's getting $80 back from all the 2 million people.
Yeah.
You know, so you're looking at 160 million. The only one who makes money are the blood-sucking lawyers.
And you won't even get your $50 back for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But the lawyers don't care because they pulled out $100 million.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just filling their pipeline.
it's because these, by the way, are called tort attorneys. Okay, so the only ones who this makes money for are tort attorneys, and these tort attorneys are the very people who he was hanging around with when he was a lawyer as an attorney general prior to being an attorney general, and it's these group tort attorneys who are largely based outside of D.C. and Virginia who are going to who throw money at the DNC and the Ohio DNC, which means he's padded the pockets of the people who are going to pay to get him elected.
Right.
So when you mix that together, which screws consumers, doesn't protect them, along with funneling massive government contracts to GMNB, you'd be hard-pressed to assume anything other than this was a very deliberate act on his part, a long, planned-out scheme to get himself as the governor of Ohio. And by the way, it's going to work.
It looks that way.
That's how it looks. That's how it looks to me.
Not saying it's what it is. That's how it looks.
So, what do you guys think about that? I think it's shady. Now, I do want to point this out. I know everybody thinks that this is partisan. You know, like, okay, so you're arguing a side that's Republican. It's not. I'm not arguing a Republican side. Me or Frank, neither one of us are. We look at everything in the context of how it affects mortgage lending and how it affects consumers wanting to participate with mortgage lending and real estate. Okay, so if a Democrat comes out with a great idea, that's awesome. Let's run with it. It doesn't really matter. But when you have the head of an agency who is just this looming shadow over the mortgage and real estate industry, cloaked in a veil of goodness, you know, but doing evil deeds, and this is what we see, we're going to call that out. You know, if ever there have been, you know, a sheep in wolf's clothing, this would be the case, don't you think?
It certainly looks like it.
Hey, by the way, if you guys want to talk about this or anything else, give us a call at 707-330-1272. 707-330-1272. And go the other way. Let's see what he says. Okay, we got Robert over here. He says he's as corrupt as Hillary, Obozo, Lynn Loretta, and the Indian warlord Warren. Yeah, kind of.
Indian warlord Warren.
Keep going the other direction on there. You know, it's I'm not going to get into it. Okay, let's see. That's how I built my book of business on referrals. Megan Jackson. No, yeah. And by the way, going out in the field is the only way to go. Totally agree. Okay, what's up with the scandal? Hi, I don't have an opinion. What if I don't have an opinion on Bakersfield? You know, the thing is, I hadn't been to Bakersfield. By the way, I hadn't been to Bakersfield in 15 years, 20 years.
I never actually have been to Bakersfield. I've driven through Bakersfield many times. I've never taken the time to.
I went there and I'm like, no, not for me. But I saw some areas that were just absolutely gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's see if I can hit this damn thing. Got a shaky tail. 18s was bamboozled me last time.
18s, they're killing you. Well, 17's doing the same to me right now.
Alrighty. So what else have we got going on in the world of lending right now? It's Wednesday. Anything good for the weekend?
No, not that I'm thinking of. I sent you some stories in there. Some of them were kind of interesting. I don't know what it was, but I don't know, man. Nothing. What about you? I mean, you're probably just gonna stay home and lay low after your road trip, right?
I've been like I've been dealing with a sore back as of late, and it's I got up and it's like, oh, after like 2 weeks it started getting better. Oh, look at this! I'm noticing somebody's using Listing Booster on Twitter. Here's an interesting one. Goldman Sachs predicts 4 rate hikes in 2018.
Wow.
So 4 rate hikes.
Well, everybody's saying, I just did when you were away, I did a little story, and there was 6 predictions for 2018. One of them was, by the end of the year, 5% for 30-year fixed. And that's not just, that's several, and, you know, NBA included.
Well, the Treasury's going to be pulling money out of circulation. And we're going to, that has to happen. And
Right.
they've already talked about it. So we're going to see rates go up. I was talking with somebody that said, okay, I think it's going to be a correction in the market. So I'm looking at our local market. Like a reasonable house, if I were to go purchase one today, I'm looking at $600,000. Like that's like anything that I would live in.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at like a $4,000 payment. I wouldn't be comfortable with that. I mean, I can pay it fine, but like, I'm looking at,
It's a lot of money for a house payment.
For a house payment, $4,000.
You're definitely leveraging your debt at that point, or
I'm wondering. Do you think I think there has to be a correction because I don't think these numbers are sustainable. What do you think?
Well, again, based on the reports that I saw, is you probably will see somewhat of a correction, simply because right now we have a little bit of the old supply and demand, right? You've got low inventory, which is going to keep pricing high. But the report was saying that they're seeing that inventory is going to start to come back up in 2018, and the real reason that it is because of new home sales. That new homes are going to increase significantly in 2018, getting more houses on the market. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, then obviously you get more houses on the market, you should see somewhat of a correction in home prices. And that was a national,
But you wonder on that. Okay, so if we see all right, so let's say houses drop 10%, but rates go up 2%. I mean, where does that really leave everybody?
It's true. Yeah, that's true. But still, even if rates went up to 5 like they're predicting, you're still at extremely low interest rates. You're still in the realm of affordability by far.
By the way, Richard Cordroy just tweeted, I feel like a dog that's been unmuzzled. Thinking about this, I got to digest this because I'm thinking I agree with him. Because the only reason you muzzle a dog is because they bite.
Right?
Yeah, you're a dog.
Yeah.
And you bite.
Yeah. He just tweeted that. Huh?
Yep.
That's awesome.
All right. Oh, son of a...
Yeah. You can't hit it, and I'd bust.
I can't hit this 18. I motored through the other 2.
We were in Rancho Solano, me and Brenda, and just so you guys know, Rancho Solano is in Fairfield, where we live in the Fairfield area. Rancho Solano is, it's one of the nicer. It's a gated community.
Yeah, Rancho's good.
They have the golf courses. They've got the amenities, and they have big, beautiful homes. You know what I mean? Lavish landscaping.
Is that where Mike used to live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lavish landscaping, that kind of a thing. And we were looking at a house in there, and it was going for $600,000. It was going for $600,000. But I got to tell you, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, for a $600,000, it was a nice house. I mean, it was nice in a nice neighborhood and surrounded by nice scenery. And it was just, you can spend a lot more than that in other places, and it wasn't bad.
Well, but here's the thing: Fairfield's going to be less expensive than Vacaville in general. So I mean that's going to play into it a little bit. But here for $600,000 in Vacaville, I don't know, not a whole bunch. Not breaking.
What do we got here? I saw another comment, Andrew. Go the other way, yeah. Not that way. There's nothing else down there? I thought I saw something. No? Okay, I'm wrong. Oh, I just saw housing value skyrocketed here in Arizona. Megan Jackson. Megan! Is that you, Megan? I know we met.
Well, one thing, see, Victorville, Victorville is like Phoenix without the charm and the great restaurants and the
Okay.
and the disproportionate number of beautiful people.
But it still has heat, barbs, fangs,
Oh yeah, everything in the
poison.
everything. See, here's the thing: nothing wants to live in the desert. Like nothing is like the desert is arid, it's hot, it's dry.
Yeah.
It's a very hostile environment.
Right.
So for anything to live in the desert, it has to be mean.
Yeah.
It does. That's the only way you get by in the desert. Gila monsters,
Anything.
rattlesnakes,
Yeah.
big ass scorpions,
Tarantulas.
all the plants
Yeah.
have spikes and
Barbs.
barbs
Yeah.
on them. All the animals bite and kill.
Yeah. Everything's full of venom.
Right, and then
Yeah.
the person living out there. It's
Still
like
live in the desert.
it's like camping's great in the daytime, because at night everything wakes up that wants to kill me.
Yeah. So true.
Oh, did I get it? No.
Michael Fedoruk. Hey, my cousin Fike is on.
Oh,
Trip.
got it.
My cousin Mike Fedoruk, who's a pilot. A real pilot on an airliner.
Doesn't he do like
flying
private
people.
jets?
No, he flies for. If you're still with us, Mike, tell us who you fly for. I can't remember, but no, he's flying like like you're flying on an airliner. I forget what airline he works for, but yeah, he's the real deal. He's the real deal.
So, anyways, you heard that Mike Mulvaney, who's now the head of the CFPB,
Yeah.
he put a 30-day hiring freeze, so you can't hire anybody. We
At
talked
the
about that
CFPB?
before, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Because everybody at the CFPB was handpicked, and they
Yeah.
were picked and given higher salaries.
Right.
And so you have everybody there is of one political persuasion. So what he's done is he said no more hiring, and then he said we're going to cut everybody's income. He's going to cut your income back to whatever normal income, right? But now what he's doing is he's taking his own political staffers and he's pairing them with existing employees at the
Really,
CFPB.
shadows or whatever.
You get a buddy at work now.
Ah, you get a new work buddy.
Hey Frank, how you doing? Here's your buddy.
Yeah.
Everything you like, he hates.
Yeah.
Everything he likes, you hate. Have fun, Frank.
I find it smart.
Oh, and by the way, Frank,
Yeah.
enjoy that 20% pay cut.
Yeah.
Feel free to march your ass right out that door and go work somewhere else if you want.
Thank goodness he's in there
This
to
is right.
straighten that zoo out.
All right, here we go.
Goodness.
Did you close your 16s?
I did. Oh, there's Mike. He flies for Compass Airlines.
Yeah, I thought he flew like I thought he told me he flew like jets for like high rollers, like smaller jets. No.
No, I'm sure he'd do that, but no, he works for Compass Airlines. You can look him up. They're just a little airline. I forget what type of plane he flies, but it's the real deal, man.
People's Bank fined $2.8 million for deceptive mortgage practices. We talked about this before. People's Bank, I think they're in Kansas, but I went down there. I actually went to a gig down there in outside of Orlando with them,
Yeah.
and they were called. It was Banking Unusual. They had kind of a cool thing because they were a depository. They could a lender that you didn't have to have the licensing requirements, which was one thing that they liked, but you could do a loan anywhere in the country because they were FDIC insured.
Right.
But they worked like a non-bank. And I went down there. I really like those guys a lot. And they, they got that And here's the thing, like I said, $2.8 million from the DOJ shut their operations down.
They're no
done.
longer mortgage.
No, they were absorbed by somebody else. And the LOs that I knew down there, they had some really good dudes. They moved on to different places. So
It's so easy to get shut down these days as a mortgage organization.
Oh, it totally is.
It's crazy.
It totally is. So, how's your wife's real estate going?
One of these days, I'm actually going to dive in there and do it with her,
Is it
and really focus on
Is it going to require you to do that?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, if I have not put a lot of, what did you do there?
17's close.
Oh, nice. I feel I could be a lot more helpful, but I just I haven't been.
Yeah, because here's what you said. You said, I go, how's your wife's real estate going? You said, one day I'll dive into it.
Yeah,
so what
and
that
I
tells
think
me
if
is it's not going to work unless you dive into it.
No, I would not say that. It's certainly working. She does a lot, and she's working hard at it, and she's got deals cooking and all that kind of stuff. Could it be more? Of course it could be more, but
Is she doing it 40 hours a week?
absolutely not.
Okay.
No. Which is good, though. I mean, she can't. I mean, we've got our mom, my mother-in-law's living there. There's a lot of things that go into it where she's, cannot do this full-time. There's no way.
How's mom doing?
She's okay. She's, when you get to be 86, 87 years old, and especially with her, her background, you're going to have some little weird quirks about you, and she's got them, but it's fine. I don't mind, you know what I mean? I don't mind being the family that took her in and is making sure she's okay on her final days.
Right.
I'm good with it.
Right.
In fact, I prefer it, to tell you the truth. Not that I don't trust anybody else. I just know that, I just feel that she's better with us. I think she's just could be happier there. I think our home environment is better, and I just think it's a better situation. And a big reason, Brenda doesn't have to work full time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And with my being, the owner of the companies, part owner of the companies, I have a lot of flexibility too. So we're, kind of the obvious choice.
Right.
All the other family members are, they're 40 hours a week working jobs.
Well, that's my father-in-law. He should be down here, but they're gonna stay up there, and of course, me and my wife fly up there 15 times a month. The clarity is critical, said the video director. The current uncertainty with respect to these issues presented. So basically, here's another thing that's going on. The Senate has introduced another bill to get rid of Dodd-Frank.
I saw that.
That seemed just like, there's been north of 20 bills to get rid of Dodd-Frank.
Right.
That's like, you're not going to get rid of Dodd-Frank. That's like getting rid of Halloween.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
No, do you see it happening?
Oh, no, I don't see it happening. What I do see happening, though, is Mulvaney getting in there and making the CFPB right.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's fix it. Again, we've said this many times. Nothing against protecting the consumer. Absolutely. We don't want shady jackasses screwing people. I don't want to get screwed, on anything. I want the government to protect me from these idiots. But I don't want to have it come at a great, great cost to me. And I don't want it to shut down people that aren't screwing people.
Right.
So Mulvaney's going to be able to step in there. He already has. He's really starting to clean that place up right off the bat. And I love the fact that he's starting in-house.
Right.
Shut down we're going to hiring freeze. We're going to clean this up. We're going to get pays back aligned, and we're going to start there. And I'm excited to see where he takes it.
And by the way, it's People's Bank. It's not People's Bank and Trust. There's more than one of these People's Bank. But that's case in point. You had the DOJ go in there and bust basically a mortgage operation, which is really what the CFPB should be doing. And what that really tells me is you don't need the CFPB if you have other agencies who've already got these things covered.
Right. If you've got agencies covering various aspects of regulation, let them do it.
Right. No, I agree.
Do it. And then if you're the CFPB, then figure out what you're regulating and take care of that.
Right.
And do it in a fair way. The 5-panel board or 5-member panel would be the way to go. You need to have some sort of fairness, and there has to be accountability. The CFPB has to be held accountable to Congress. They have to be able to go in there and go, what are you doing? And make changes to it. You can't have this insulated rogue agency with absolute and utter control, do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. It's just ridiculous.
Totally agree.
The people of the United States would not want that. If you asked any off the street, would you like it if the government had an agency that was not beholden to the government at all? They could just do whatever they wanted to do at any time, spend any amount of money they want to spend, sue or fine anyone they felt fit, and they don't answer to anyone. Would you think that's a good idea?
Oh,
and there's no American, red or blue, that would say just to that phrase, absolutely, that's a great idea. They would say, no, that's a ridiculous idea.
Oh,
and yet that's what we have.
And by the way, and then when they sue people blindly, they're going to take a portion of that money and they're going to give it to groups and institutions that are used exclusively to hire their friends to different positions to continue the gravy train.
Does this sound like a good idea to you? You know, and you could ask anybody, red or blue, do you think that's a good idea? And they would say, no, that's a horrible idea. Yet that's exactly what we have.
I'm reading this article right now about Dave Stevens talking about how he got into the mortgage industry, and I'll get this. I'm gonna leave the link over to you so you guys can check it out. Well, can you post that up here somewhere, Andrew? If I give it to you,
You can throw it in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just send it to myself. So throw it up here in the comments. I'm just going to assume that this is going to be a good read.
Yeah,
But anyways, I bring this up for a reason. And that reason is on Friday. Now Frank's going to be doing this because I got to go down and speak with another multiple listing system. You know what? We're going to be doing that on a webinar, so I might be in here. But on Friday, we're going to sit down with Mike Solati, who was one of the architects of First Friday Financial, a company that we both worked. It was the only company I worked for. But you brought up a good point. So Mike started working for some sleazebag wholesaler, small company type of thing.
He was an account executive for some subprime. I can't remember who it was, but everyone will remember it. It was like First Franklin or something. It wasn't First Franklin. It was somebody else. But he was an account executive, just a lowly AE running out to mortgage brokers trying to get some deals. You know what I mean? And then he got out of wholesale and he went into retail just as a little loan officer, just a regular, everyday loan officer like everybody else. Then they wound up, through one way or another, opening up a mortgage brokerage. He had an ownership position in brokerage. One thing leads to another. You know, years go by. Hard work, perseverance goes by. They become a mortgage banker. Hard work, perseverance goes by, and they sell for millions and millions of dollars. He is the ultimate little LO success story. I know that there's tons and tons of loan originators out there who have aspirations to grow and to do something, and people are opening their own branches, and a lot of brokerages are being formed right now. We know that. People are going into brokering. When you go into brokering, what do you think? Well, I'm going to go in and maybe I can hire some loan officers. Maybe I can become this cool company. You know, that's what the thought process is. His story is going to be really cool because he did it. He went from lowly LO to I sold my company for $1 gajillion.
Right.
It's a neat story.
It is a neat story. So, so make sure you guys tune. I'll be here for that on Friday. So make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be interesting. Mike Solati is, I've said this time and time again, the single most influential person in my origination career. Like how I patterned myself with what was right and what was wrong and how to look at files and critically analyze things outside of the box. I got more of that from Mike than anybody.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear what I think is one of the great minds in real estate, and really a wonderful story. And the thing is, he sold his company off, so he's out to grace right now. Couldn't happen to a better guy.
Oh, I know.
So
you have to just sit back and go, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. You know what I mean? The other thing, too, about him and his brother and, you know, the company in general, those guys were always kind of, you know, through all the scandal that's out there over the years and all the weird loan products that have come and gone, those guys have always been kind of just the righteous guys in the corner. You know what I mean? That have just always just been good, straight up, clean running shop. Everything was done right, you know. No hanky-panky, no getting into weird shit, you know what I mean? Just they were always just those righteous little guys in the corner. And it paid off.
Didn't go down the wrong road at all. No, I agree with you 100% on that. You got one bullseye?
Yeah. 2.
Damn you. Gonna take my crown away from me. Maybe not. I'm getting close.
Well, we've done this many times before where, you know,
okay.
You think you're going to win and you don't.
HELOC borrowers to tap lines to pay for winter home renovations. The vast majority of consumers with a home equity line of credit said they're considering using it to pay for planned home renovations this winter. Consumers tap their home equity lines. These are the top 3 reasons. The top 3 reasons why people are tapping their home energy lines. What do you think they are?
Well, I got something to say about that besides what they are.
Well, I'll tell you what they're doing. They're all lying is what they're doing.
Why do you say that?
There's the entertainment centers and quad runners and dirt bikes that are not being represented.
I think that's built into that. But I tell you what, though, a lot of people will have to tap equity lines to do improvements. You know, a lot of people do use equity lines for improvements. And one of the things to be concerned about is, we've talked about this, is in the tax reform. Is the mortgage interest deduction going to stay? Is it going to go?
You talked to Barry, didn't you?
Yeah, that was a while back.
Did he talk about that? Because right now, as it stands, right now you're gonna lose being able to write off your interest on your second.
Right, on your second. No, he did talk about it. He did bring up the obvious points, right? You're gonna say, well, some people think it needs to stay no matter what, and some people say, well, let's hold on a minute. Not that many people do take advantage of it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be that big of a deal to a lot of people. But my point is, there is a lot of people who do like that and who do need it for this very reason. So you've got winter coming up, and they need to do something, right? They're going to file a tax return in January, okay? And they're going to get a little bit bigger refund than they would have gotten normally because they have a mortgage interest deduction right now. Lots of people are in that boat. Lots and lots, right? And now they can take that money, that extra money, right, and apply it toward insulating their windows or doing those little things that they think that they need to do to winterize their house a little bit better. So, that's my thought on that.
Here's my thought. Winterize your house in the summer and summerize your house in the winter. It's going to be a lot cheaper. But you're right. That's what's going to happen.
But because taxes, they're going to get paid in January. That's
right.
my point. That's when they're going to get their tax return.
So how about this? I'd be curious if somebody knows here. Do you have any type of seasoning requirement on a first before you can put a second on it? So let's say you have somebody who's putting 20% down on their first.
No.
They're putting 20% down. They purchase a house. I don't think there is. So wouldn't it be smart to put a second on that house right away? Like
yes.
For every first that you close, everybody that you close, and I don't know if you can go like 125s anymore, if you can exceed 100% LTV. I don't know this. You guys know this. But if you could exceed 100% LTV, wouldn't it behoove you to put a HELOC on every single loan that you do, every first that you close?
That's a good idea.
And just say the next day, hey, by the way, the day after we close this, let's get the paper. We've already got your file here. We're going to copy this file. We're going to change a couple things on your 1003, and then we're going to get you a line of credit.
Right.
And just put it on there.
Just to have it. Don't draw on it. Just leave it at zero.
Right.
But you got it.
Right.
So when something breaks or something comes up, if you don't have the cash, you can do something with it. And that's why having the interest deduction on those seconds was really nice.
Right.
Because now the point would be, and not only that, if you do have to use it, you're going to be able to write off the interest. So there was kind of like, okay, it sucks to have to borrow it, but at least if I borrow it here, I'm going to be able to write it off.
Right.
And if that goes away, that'll suck.
My turn? I think it's my turn.
It is.
Okay. So, all right, here's the top 3 reasons people are getting HELOCs. 32% for renovations, 14% for emergencies, and 12% for education. Like I said, entertainment centers are probably represented there somewhere, but, this is what we're hearing. My point is like I said, put a second on every first. If you have a purchase money first, and you close that deal, have that second ready to get submitted right away just for those emergencies. So I'll tell you this. So I literally got back at 10:30 last night. I drove all day, all night yesterday to get back here. And so when we were driving down there, Lena, she's one of our admins on Listing Booster, so you guys might know her. She's looking at her phone. Her phone says, "Oh, wind advisories in Vacaville." Yeah, 80-mile-an-hour winds in Vacaville. So on Monday, was it just like this crazy?
Oh, dude, it was crazy.
So anyways, I'm like, damn, 80 miles, that's like gale force winds. Literally gale force winds.
I don't know that it was 80, but boy, it was really going.
Oh, the alley by our office was crazy.
Yeah.
So I get back. I have huge trees in my backyard. Huge trees. I have a big pine tree. This thing, it sheds branches that are this thick and is, 15 feet long.
Yeah.
I'll get 10 of these a week.
Yeah.
We have another tree. I don't know what it is, but anyways, it's massive. I knocked a branch out in my backyard, dude. It's as big as a tree.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back there this weekend with a chainsaw.
Yeah, you can't move them.
No, I'm gonna have to go back there with a chainsaw with my bad back and all. I'm gonna have to go chop that damn thing up.
Yeah,
okay?
they're very heavy.
Now I'm gonna get this thing's right over my house. It would have gone like 3 feet to the right. I'm missing half a kitchen.
Yeah.
So, I think having something like that to where you can deal with issues right away, having a second mortgage is hugely important.
I think it's important. I mean,
Yeah.
You're not going to do it for a guy in an FHA loan because I know you got LTV issues, but for your agency stuff,
Well, and get this. Speaking of damages, so I wake up yesterday, and it was trippy because we have a lot of fires here in Northern California. We live next to Napa, so we saw Santa Rosa and Napa just get devastated this year. But LA, where they have those Santa Ana winds, it's really bad in LA.
yeah.
So I turn on the news. It's like 7 in the morning. They're like, yeah, here's a fire. Okay, they got the helicopter up there. Like, oh, here's another fire. Oh, there's one that just sparked. Oh, there's one over there that sparked. That one looks small. Oh, that one's got big real quick. Oh, that one's bigger over there. And the newscasters down there, they understand fires so much better than ours because they deal with this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Like, well, here's what's going on over here, and they're talking about all this shit, and it's crazy. And I'm watching this unfold before my very eyes. Okay. And it was closer to you than me. Did you see smoke when you were down there?
I didn't see smoke, but it was all the concern. Everybody was wigging out about it.
Okay. So here's the deal. I said, yeah, they had to pull back the helicopters and the planes because it was too windy down there for
Yeah,
them.
it was really windy.
And I'm thinking to me, what about the news helicopter who's showing me this crap right now? They're telling me you can't have helicopters in the sky because it's too windy for them, it's too dangerous. He's announcing this from a helicopter in the sky. Right? Isn't that crazy?
Well, maybe it's because they're carrying all that water and that thing. The wind is more apt to screw up the stability.
That would be my thinking. But here's the thing. You know, Adrian, my brother-in-law, his wife's mom, house burnt to the ground yesterday.
No!
Burnt the whole thing to the ground, yeah.
That sucks.
Lost everything. Do you want to hear something funny? The house needed a lot of repairs.
Yeah, well, they're going to get it now.
I'm like, oh, she's probably over there like throwing gas on it. All right, get all that brush, stack it up against the house. Stack it against the house. Just crazy stuff.
You got it. You got one.
I'll pass.
Yeah, no reason to blow it. No reason to blow it.
No reason to blow. So guys, when we play darts, we play differently. So we start with 20s. You have to hit 3 20s, then 19s, and all the way down to your 15s.
Yeah.
And then once we get to our 15s, what we do is we start shooting bullseyes. But let's say you get 2 15s, you need 3. If you hit a double or a triple, you bust and lose your turn. So we play this.
Sometimes you forego.
Sometimes you forego. So I just closed my 15s. I'm on the bullseyes. So you got 2 bullseyes?
Yep.
So Frank's 2 up on me here. Now, if he closes it out, I have a chance to match him. But my goal is... oh, shit.
And he just did, my friend.
All right, let's see. Did you double that? No, single it. Okay.
It's outside the metal.
So I gotta hit a red and a green. And if I do that, then we're gonna go to overtime.
We go to overtime.
And if I don't, Frank takes the crown.
And I win. I take it away from you.
All right, not good.
Get it.
Yeah.
Woo woo! I won.
All right.
You won the last one.
All right. So let's see here. Any comments up there that are decent? Anybody have any thoughts? And by the way, here's a chance to call in before we leave. And it's 707-330-1272. 707-330-1272. Anybody? Yeah, man. I swear to God, I slept better in that hotel room when I was down there.
And I woke you up.
You did. I was out of it.
Sorry.
I sounded out of it too, didn't I?
Oh yeah, you're like frazzled. Like you're almost like, where am I?
You ever do that when you stayed on? Me and Frank, we used to travel a lot, not as much as we did, but there were times, especially after like long nights, I'd wake up in a hotel room, like I'd go to my room and I'd crash out just naked in the bed, and then I'd wake up in the morning and I know I'm naked in a bed that's not mine. It's like, what the is going on here? Really, you know what I mean?
Totally.
It takes you a few minutes. Okay, I'm in Denver. No, I'm not. I'm in Oklahoma. No, I'm in Texas. Texas. Yes, I'm in Texas. Okay. All right. Did I go? It takes like 10 seconds.
Yeah. When I called you, you were there. You were like, yeah. I was like, dude, sorry, you're just normally awake at this hour.
You know what the difference is? When I bought my mattress, I just did exactly what you shouldn't do. First of all, it's upsold, which was great. I had a great salesperson. I respected that. But I went and laid on a bed. I said, I'm going to get the bed that I like. I want all the pillowy shit on it. I want like the biggest, softest, coolest, most bitchin' mattress ever. That's basically what I did. And I went and you lay on a firm mattress, and it's like, oh, this is good. This is nice. Then you go lay on one of the real cush ones with like all the shit on it.
Yeah, the built-in fluffy pad on
the top.
top.
And you get the firm ones or the not firm ones. I'm like, I want the least firm one ever. I want to sink into this thing. I did. And so I got it, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And so I bought it. When you have like no structure in your mattress, and then my fat ass gets in this thing and it starts to sink down, and the box spring and all that. So now my mattress, after a very short period of time, it's probably been 15 years now, but my mattress My mattress goes
Short
like
period of time.
my
15 years.
but it was soft. You know, I got
Yeah.
the soft. My mattress goes like this.
Sure. Yeah.
So like when I lay down there, my back's in that spot the whole time, right?
Yeah.
So I hadn't been in hotels a whole bunch, but I crashed a couple days in hotels, and it was like I had that real firm kind of like sleeping on a board.
Mhm.
It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Bed bugs didn't matter at all. Couldn't
No.
care less.
And by the way, this is true too. So we went down to Victorville, and I got Lisa with us, and I got Lena. I said, girls, I'm going to get us. I go, do you want your own rooms, or you sleeping together? You guys cool with that? They're like, oh, well, we'll share a room. I'm like, okay. So they shared a room, and I got my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, because you're sharing a room, I'm going to get the finest hotel Victorville has to offer. And so
What was it?
So I mean, if they had a Ritz, dude, you and me are going to be on the hook for $500 because I'm in it too. And I had no idea, so I called Jen. I got her on, the speaker thing in my truck as we're driving. I'm like, can you look up hotels for me? She's like, yeah. She goes, what are you looking for? Where do you want to stay? I'm like, I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's in Victorville, Hesperia, or Apple something or other. I go, all I want is the most expensive hotel that you can find. That's where we're staying. So she's like, okay. She goes, I got one here for $91.
It has a pool and a laundromat.
I think the room ended up being like $93, and it was just, oh my god.
It's fancy. It's 2 stories.
And they don't recommend leaving your room after 9:30 at night.
There is a vending machine on each floor.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, we had, and so when we get in there, so we've been driving for like 8 hours, and so I got my Waze on, and it's going, I swear it was, I'm just tired at this point. I'd been on the road for like 13 hours, like, okay, go straight, turn left, go straight, go right, back up, go around, go straight, go left, go right, go right, go right, go left, right, go straight, go right, go left. I'm like, what the? Like, like this. I mean, it was crazy. Me and Lena were laughing. There was no less than 25 turns once we entered the city of Victorville. Now, think of anything in Vacaville. You're going to go hit a main artery. You're going to go down that and hang a left and a right and a left.
Yeah.
No way. And the city planning is for shit. It's so funny you have like a home, like single-family resident, tire store, liquor store, a house, 7-Eleven, a house, a grocery outlet, a house, a 99-cent store. It's like, who thought this shit up? So our hotel was stuck in between a bowling alley that was probably put up in 1971, and no one has done shit to it since then.
Yeah.
9 lanes, just a dump. Which is actually, I like dumps like that, so for me that was kind of cool.
Neat, yeah.
And on the other side, I had a Scandia, which is miniature golf.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just noisy. The freeways in front of look, freeways here, bowling alley here, Scandia here. And with all that, I slept great.
Yeah.
So on our travels, dude, I have stayed in the shittiest hotels and the nicest hotels in this country.
Yeah.
I've literally stayed at the Ritz.
Yeah.
And I have stayed in a Motel 5.5.
Yeah.
In the worst part of Houston.
Yeah, I remember too that one hotel we stayed at when we spoke in did we speak in Stockton or Modesto or Tracy or?
They're all the same.
Yeah, we were somewhere down there. We stayed in some little 2-story dumperoo.
What was it?
And we felt like we're moving up in the world.
Oh yeah.
But it was cool.
That's too funny.
It was cool. All right, we're at an hour.
All right, guys. We will catch you tomorrow. It's going to be Thursday. We're going to do Open Mic Thursday tomorrow. So we're gonna insist that you guys call in. I'm gonna go get a bite to eat and finish writing up the show for tomorrow. With that said, make it a great day. Happy selling, everybody. Go out there and write alone, pick up a new client, get a new listing. And the best way to do that is go out there and knock on a door and actually talk to somebody face to face. Fraternize with them. Joculate, as some might say. Bumping gums. Those type of things are going to get you deals. Go outside, because unlike your computer, the graphics are fantastic.
They're an Ultra HD.
They're Ultra HD. They're 3D. You don't even need an Oculus. You can like look around and it's like, shit, these graphics are great. Look, this is wonderful. It's Matterporting your life on steroids. So go check it out. That's it, guys. Make it a great day.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, by the way, for those of you, seriously, who are in Victorville, thank you so much. It was really cool down there. I had a great time with you guys. Bakersfield was wonderful. So, anyways, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.